Tonight's worst persons in the world. The bronze to Billo the Clown, who has gotten schooled again about World War II again by actress Jessica Alba. She now famously called Billo the whole word, and when Fix News chased her for a response, she suggested the network should go Sweden about it. By go Sweden about it, she said she meant be neutral. Billo fired back saying she was uninformed, labeled her a, quote, pinhead, and decided she had clearly confused Sweden and the famously neutral nation of Switzerland. Ms. Alba has now gotten the last word, writing on a blog that it's so sad to me that you think the only neutral country during World War II was Switzerland. Sweden was not only famously, sometimes painfully neutral during the war, indeed during most of the 20th century, but that fact made its way into pop culture as recently as the movie Catch-22. Billo, who didn't know the Americans were the victims and not the war criminals at Malmedy in that war, now proves to have known less about the Second World War than does the star of the movie Sin City. The runner-up, columnist Charles Krauthammer, criticizing Obama's appearance on the Al Arabiya network yesterday as needlessly apologetic and defensive. We heard him say that we shouldn't paint Islam with a broad brush. Who does? That's a straw man. Krauthammer obviously never read this sentence, painted with the broadest brush imaginable in December 2002. From Nigeria to Sudan to Pakistan to Indonesia to the Philippines, some of the worst, most hate-driven violence in the world today is perpetrated by Muslims and in the name of Islam. That amazing generalization, written without any attempt at verification, the definition of painting with a broad brush, was written 6 years ago by Charles Krauthammer. But our winner, House Minority Whip Eric Cantor of Virginia, when not taking credit for the stimulus program, he's ripping it. Even the Congressional Budget Office says it's not stimulative, he said on CNBC today. You've got that office saying that only 25% goes out in the first year. Actually, the Congressional Budget Office writes that the stim would have a, quote, noticeable impact on economic growth and employment in the next few years. And about that 25% claim, the office says it's ridiculous to try to measure how much of the money would be distributed by the end of this year, because the plan won't even go into effect until roughly the middle of the fiscal year. But by the end of September of next year, the office says 65% of this funding will have been spent. This guy Cantor is supposed to be one of the GOP's bright new lights. He's kind of new, seems fairly light. I don't know about the bright. Congressman Eric Cantor of Virginia, today's worst person, and there's echo in the room already, in the world.